You do it. You know you do it. You're walking down the street and you're talking to yourself. You're at home doing chores and you're narrating what you're doing. You're in your car and you're having full conversations with yourself. And then you get embarrassed. You think something is wrong with you. You think you're crazy. But the truth is, talking to yourself is one of the most intelligent things a human can do. It's called self-talk, and it's a powerful psychological tool that shapes your entire life. Most people don't realize that talking to yourself is not a sign of mental illness. It's a sign of intelligence. In this video, I'm breaking down the psychology of self-talk, why you do it, what it does to your brain, why some people do it more than others, and how to use it to transform your life. Stay tuned. If psychology fascinates you, subscribe and hit the bell. We release brain science that changes your life every single week. Let's start with what self-talk actually is. Self-talk is the internal dialogue you have with yourself. It's the voice in your head. It's you talking to yourself. But here's what's interesting. Self-talk is not just random thoughts. Self-talk is directed speech. It's you talking to yourself intentionally. You're narrating, reflecting, planning, problem-solving, or motivating yourself. There are different types of self-talk. Instructional self-talk is when you're giving yourself instructions. You're doing a task and you're narrating the steps. Motivational self-talk is when you're encouraging yourself. You're psyching yourself up. You're telling yourself you can do it. Reflective self-talk is when you're processing your thoughts and feelings. You're thinking through a problem. You're talking through your emotions. Evaluative self-talk is when you're assessing your performance. You're judging yourself. You're analyzing what you did. Now, why do people talk to themselves? There are several reasons. First, it improves focus. When you talk to yourself while doing a task, you activate more areas of your brain. You're engaging your auditory cortex, your language centers, your motor cortex. So you're using more of your brain to do the task. This improves focus and concentration. Second, it improves memory. When you verbalize something, you remember it better. If you say something out loud, you're more likely to remember it than if you just think it. This is called the production effect. Speaking something out loud creates a stronger memory trace. Third, it helps with problem solving. When you talk through a problem, you activate different neural networks. You're using your language centers to articulate the problem. You're using your working memory to hold the information. You're using your reasoning centers to think through solutions. All of this together helps you solve problems better. Fourth, it regulates emotions. When you talk to yourself about your emotions, you're processing them. You're putting words to feelings. And when you put words to feelings, you activate your prefrontal cortex. This is the reasoning center of your brain. And when your prefrontal cortex is activated, your amygdala, your emotional center, is calmed down. So talking to yourself about your emotions actually regulates your nervous system. Fifth, it builds confidence. When you talk to yourself in a positive way, you're literally changing your brain. You're activating your reward centers. You're releasing dopamine. You're building neural pathways for confidence and self-belief. Now let's talk about the neuroscience of self-talk. When you talk to yourself out loud, your brain lights up more than when you just think. Brain imaging studies show that self-talk activates multiple regions of the brain simultaneously. It engages your language production areas, your auditory processing areas, your working memory, your reasoning centers. So talking to yourself is actually more neurologically demanding than just thinking. This is why self-talk is so effective. You're engaging more neural networks. You're using more brain power. You're creating stronger neural pathways. And stronger neural pathways mean better performance, better memory, and better emotional regulation. There's also research on how self-talk affects performance. Athletes use self-talk to improve performance. They tell themselves they're strong, they're fast, they can win. And research shows that self-talk actually improves athletic performance. Musicians use self-talk to improve performance. They tell themselves they can play the piece well, and it improves their performance. Students use self-talk to improve learning. They narrate what they're learning, and it improves retention. Now let's talk about the different personality types that use self-talk more. First, there are people with high working memory. Working memory is your ability to hold information in mind while you're working with it. People with high working memory tend to talk to themselves more because they're reusing their language centers to support their working memory. Second, there are people who are more introverted. Introverts tend to process things internally. They talk to themselves more because they're using self-talk to process their thoughts and feelings. Third, there are people with anxiety. People with anxiety tend to talk to themselves more, sometimes obsessively. They're ruminating. They're going over problems again and again. They're trying to figure out solutions. But sometimes this self-talk becomes unhelpful. It becomes worry. It becomes rumination. Fourth, there are people who are more intelligent. Smarter people tend to talk to themselves more. This might be because they're more engaged in problem solving. They're thinking through complex ideas. They're using self-talk to work through those ideas. Fifth, there are people with ADHD. People with ADHD often use self-talk to regulate their attention. They're narrating what they're doing to keep themselves focused. Now let's talk about the difference between helpful and unhelpful self-talk. Helpful self-talk is when you're using self-talk to your advantage. You're motivating yourself. You're problem solving. You're processing emotions. You're improving focus. You're building confidence. This is all beneficial. Unhelpful self-talk is when self-talk becomes rumination or worry. You're going over problems again and again without solving them. You're catastrophizing. You're telling yourself negative things. You're reinforcing self-doubt. This becomes harmful. Let me give you an example. This is Sarah. Sarah talks to herself constantly. She's doing dishes and she's narrating what she's doing. She's walking to work and she's rehearsing a conversation she's going to have. She's in her car and she's processing her day. Sarah's self-talk is mostly helpful. She's using it to focus, to prepare, to process. And because of this, Sarah is successful. She remembers things well. She handles stress well. She solves problems creatively. Then there's Marcus. Marcus also talks to himself constantly, but his self-talk is mostly unhelpful. He's ruminating about things that happened. He's worrying about things that might happen. He's telling himself he's not good enough. He's telling himself he's going to fail. And because of this, Marcus struggles with anxiety. He struggles with confidence. He struggles with performance. The difference is not that Marcus talks to himself more than Sarah. The difference is the content of their self-talk. Sarah's self-talk is constructive. Marcus's self-talk is destructive. Now let's talk about the brain regions involved in self-talk. The prefrontal cortex is the primary region involved in self-talk. This is the reasoning center of your brain. This is where language is produced. When you talk to yourself, you're activating your prefrontal cortex. And when your prefrontal cortex is activated, it sends inhibitory signals to your amygdala. It calms down your emotional center. So self-talk literally calms your brain. The temporal lobe is involved in language comprehension. When you hear yourself talk, your temporal lobe is processing that language. The parietal lobe is involved in attention. When you're talking to yourself about something, you're directing your attention to that thing. The motor cortex is involved in the production of speech. When you're talking out loud, your motor cortex is engaged. So self-talk engages multiple brain regions. And all of these brain regions working together create the benefits of self-talk. Now let's talk about how to use self-talk effectively. First, you need to be aware of your self-talk. What are you telling yourself? Is it helpful or unhelpful? Pay attention to your internal dialogue. Start noticing what you say to yourself. Second, you need to challenge unhelpful self-talk. If you catch yourself saying something negative or unhelpful, challenge it. Ask yourself if it's actually true. Is there evidence for what you're saying? Is there evidence against it? Most of our negative self-talk is not based in reality. It's based in fear or habit. Third, you need to replace unhelpful self-talk with helpful self-talk. Instead of telling yourself you're going to fail, tell yourself you're going to do your best. Instead of catastrophizing, talk through the problem step by step. Instead of ruminating, problem solve. Fourth, you need to use motivational self-talk. Research shows that motivational self-talk improves performance. Tell yourself you can do it. Tell yourself you're capable. Tell yourself you're strong. This is not about being delusional. This is about activating the parts of your brain that support performance. Fifth, you need to use instructional self-talk. When you're learning something new or doing something challenging, narrate the steps. Talk yourself through it. This activates more brain regions and improves performance. Sixth, you need to use reflective self-talk. Process your thoughts and feelings out loud. Talk through problems. This helps you understand yourself better and regulate your emotions. Here's the thing about self-talk. It's not crazy. It's not a sign of mental illness. It's a sign of intelligence. It's a sign that you're engaging your brain fully. The smartest, most successful people talk to themselves. Athletes talk to themselves. Musicians talk to themselves. Scientists talk to themselves. Writers talk to themselves. They're all using this powerful tool to improve their performance. So stop being embarrassed about talking to yourself. Start embracing it. Use it intentionally. Use it to improve your focus. Use it to improve your memory. Use it to solve problems. Use it to regulate your emotions. Use it to build confidence. Use it to improve your life. If this video resonated with you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos on psychology and brain science that actually change your life. Next week, I am breaking down the psychology of overthinking versus deep thinking, the difference between productive thinking and destructive rumination. Don't miss it. See you in the next one.